first SEC game at home. Very excited about the sellout. Early start, need our fans in their seats early, creating the atmosphere prior to the 11:07 kick. Need our students in there, fans ready to go early. Every week we're getting a little bit better, and again, your confidence comes from your preparation. I think the way these guys have attacked practice on Tuesdays and Wednesdays gives them a lot of confidence to execute.
And welcome back into the Tiger Kickoff Show presented by the Columbia Missourian. I am your host, Harrison Vapnek from KOMU Sports, joined alongside the beat writers of the MU football team, Wendell Shepherd, Ryerson, Brandon Haynes. Style Points Fridays. There we go. We're bringing it back. Undefeated with the Shades guys. I think they can credit, I think I said this last week, the week before, all the success so far this season can be credited to our sunglasses.
I completely agree. 100%.
There's no other reason for the success.
Yep.
Just I think if they keep winning, I think maybe the players, the fans, everyone should go to the game wearing sunglasses just for us.
Yeah.
You guys for it?
I actually think Dion in Colorado copied us.
Yeah.
Wearing shades and shirts.
I mean, you're the one that's pretty famous on Twitter now. I think if you tell all the fans to wear sunglasses to the game, you think they will all wear sunglasses to the games.
That would be really funny.
Yeah, if everybody's in their seats from Wendell's team, then definitely have to.
Wendell's the reason this game's going to be a sellout. Him and the Kansas State fans.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This is a feel-good episode and a game we've been waiting a while for this season. We talked about all off-season and in the preseason especially that, what if Missouri is 5-0 in the LSU game? Well, we're here. 5-0 into the LSU game, ranked number 21 in the country. LSU, who was a preseason top 5 team with national championship aspirations, they're now ranked number 23 with 2 losses to Florida State and to Ole Miss just past Saturday. The Missouri Tigers, I should say, still enter this game as a touchdown underdog. Wendell, I'll start with you. Despite what Vegas thinks and despite what the analytics say, who has the edge in this matchup between the Missouri Tigers and the LSU Tigers?
I think Mizzou has the edge. Mizzou, like you mentioned, is 5-0. They have the momentum. And even though they're, a very confident team right now, they still feel slighted. They're a touchdown underdog at home to a team that, you're ranked higher than. No game day, whatever. I think this team has a lot of reasons to be motivated. And I think, the way they are playing like the better team.
Yeah, Adam, what do you think about between the 2 Tigers? Which one do you think has the edge?
Yeah, I'm going to give it to LSU. And that's not to say that I think that they're going to beat Missouri or whatever. We'll get into that later. But I'm going to give it to LSU because they're hungry. They lost 2 really tough games. Florida State to open the year was really hard. And then they got an Ole Miss team that's pretty electric. And there's 2 LSU teams, and we're not sure which one we're going to see on Saturday. There's the one that played Florida State that looked like they couldn't hang with anybody. And then there's the one that went wire to wire at Ole Miss with Ole Miss and came up just short on a play that really they could have scored a touchdown on. Wide receiver got his hands on it. The linebacker for Ole Miss made a great play. But I think LSU is going to come into Columbia hungry, and I think they're really going to take it to the Tigers.
Brandon, how much from the previous 10 combined games that these 2 have played are you taking into account for how this game is going to be decided?
I think it's a big amount. I mean, you got to look at the momentum. I mean, Mizzou's coming in undefeated. Yes, LSU has a lot to prove, and kind of like Adam said, they're going to have a chip on their shoulder after the game. But Mizzou's coming in with confidence after rolling through each team that they've pretty much come through. Yes, it's had some close calls, but I think those close calls are going to be the reason why Mizzou kind of shows up in a good way against LSU, just with them playing Kansas State already, having that experience of playing those close games. I mean, LSU had it last week, but I just think the momentum kind of is a big thing here with as far as continuing and building upon it.
And Adam, I thought you brought up a great point because we don't know which LSU team we're quite going to see because, again, this was a team with national championship aspirations, the team that won the SEC West a year ago and was still in playoff contention into really late November before they lost to Texas A&M on the road. They have one of the best passing offenses in the whole country, led by Jaden Daniels, Malik Nabers, Kyron Lacey, and Brian Thomas Jr. In terms of specific matchups, toning in on that LSU offense, what kind of individual stuff are you looking for, Wendell?
Matters only where all those guys you just mentioned versus Mizzou's secondary. I think this is going to be what makes or breaks the game for Mizzou because LSU has a top 6 passing offense in the country. One of the best quarterbacks in the country in Jaden Daniels, the best receiving duo in the country, and Malik Nabers and Brian Thomas Jr. Mizzou secondary is going to have to come and show up and play. I think if they're able to get a turnover or 2, get some stops on third downs, get off the field, they win the game.
And even the wins, Missouri hasn't been so effective on third downs. They didn't convert a single one against Memphis, and they were kind of shaky against Kansas State. How important is it going to be for the Tigers to, we talked about this year, convert on the money downs in that matchup, especially offense versus LSU defense?
That's going to be really big, especially extending drives and keeping LSU's potent offense off the field. If you can get a couple third downs, get 5-6 minute drives, keep them off the field, that's going to be really big.
Adam, what matchup do you have your eyes on?
I think a lot of this game is going to be decided in the trenches, specifically when Missouri is on defense and LSU has the ball. So far, LSU has only given up 12 sacks on the season, but 7 of those sacks came in losses, 4 against Florida State, 3 against Ole Miss. And over the 4 FBS games that Missouri has played, they're averaging 13.75% more pressure rate per pass play than opponents are giving up against their average opponent. So I think that it's really going to be the pass rush of Missouri's defense is going to be a big area where they can limit the explosive passing attack that we've already talked about for LSU. And I don't know if you could really lean on the secondary to lock down for 6 plays on a drive against this LSU passing game. Now, one player that I do think is going to be very important for Missouri is Darius Robinson, and if he can go. He's still questionable. He missed the last time Missouri played LSU in that big upset win. He had surgery the day before. So he wasn't able to play in that game. And this is one he's circled, especially going up against Mekhi Wingo. This is one that he's been wanting to play all season long. And I think that if he's even close to being able to go, he's going to go.
Flipping the script a little, Brandon, that we talked about the great Missouri passing offense against a really suspect LSU secondary. How do you think Missouri's passing defense will do against LSU's passing offense?
I think a lot of it just comes down to kind of what Wendell said just about controlling Malik Nabers and controlling Brian Thomas and everything like that. But kind of looking on the opposite side with Mizzou's passing offense, you got Luther Burden there, and dude's a yards after catch monster. We've seen it. He leads the nation in that department. LSU last week gave up over 700 yards of offense to Ole Miss. They missed 34 tackles, according to Brian Kelly, which is a big number, especially when you're looking at a guy like Luther, who is already difficult to tackle. So that's just going to be a big point of emphasis for LSU's defense. They brought in Pete Jenkins there. He's a former coach and everything, along to help their D-line, to kind of help with that experience. Mizzou responded today with J.B. Grimes and offensive analysis to help their offensive line. But that kind of speaks to what Adam was saying just about that battle in the trenches. But just defense is such a focus right now for LSU, and it's been all the talk. They know they have the offense. They have a historically good offense that borders what they did in 2019 with Joe Burrow at the helm. And if you've got an offense like that, all you need to do is make a couple plays on defense. And I think that obviously Brian Kelly's preaching it all week in his meeting rooms, everything like that. They're looking at all the stats and they're saying, this is all our bulletin board material. And I think that Mizzou just has to recognize what they have and kind of utilize the weapons that they have, kind of look like what we've seen with Weiss and Luther Burden, and kind of continue to do that as you face an LSU defense that is suspect.
Diving into a couple numbers a little, LSU is 121st in all of FBS in yards per completion allowed. They're 130th in passing yards given up, and they've given up 13 passing touchdowns. The only team in the country with more is Colorado. So they're at the bottom of all of the key stats for now in the Missouri offense that Brady Cook hasn't thrown a pick all year. We talked about that earlier this week. Almost 1,500 yards. Luther Burden, the Missouri record for receiving yards in a game, Justin Gage in 2001 against Bowling Green had 236 yards. I'm just saying, against the LSU secondary that I've watched every game this season, I think Luther could put up 236. Wow. I think it's in the cards, especially considering Ole Miss had guys running free. I looked like it was 11 on 7 in that game.
I don't think that's crazy.
In terms of if Missouri's able to win this game, because I know they beat LSU in 2020, but very different circumstances. COVID, Drinkwitz's first year, there were no expectations. If they win this game, they get to 6-0, which would be the third straight year winning 6 games, but now they get 6 more games to go after, which is the crazy part. What would this win mean to the program, Wendell?
Brandon mentioned on Monday this being, fans are talking about this being Mizzou's Super Bowl. But I think if you win this game, every game going forward, this becomes the most important game of the season, just because there's so much that could be gained. Winning this game, you control your destiny going up against other SEC East teams. And, there's a realistic shot at winning your division. If you win this game, control your destiny going against Kentucky, South Carolina, Georgia. This game's huge. and this is going to be a big turning point, I think.
Adam, what do you think are the long-term implications of a possible win here and defeating the defending SEC West champions, Brian Kelly, who's probably one of the 10 best coaches in college football, and Drinkwitz with a second win against an AP top 25 team in 4 weeks? What would this win mean?
It means that Missouri has an even better chance to not finish at 6-6 for another season, and I think that that's a great thing for the Missouri program moving forward. Especially with the changes that have been made and Drinkwitz giving up play calling. I think a lot of people, especially recruits, will see that and be thinking that this is a program that I want to go to. They're selfless, they're winning football games, and the changes that they have made are benefiting the program as a whole. Now, there are also 3 5-stars that are going to be in attendance for this game.
Wingo, that's the big one.
Wingo's the big one. Missing out on Texas, Oklahoma. So
that's not nothing.
Yeah, let's not speculate, but we could speculate. That's a pretty big deal. It'll be the second game he's been at this year.
Hopefully we see the Chasing Dreams tweet at like 8 o'clock on
After
Saturday night,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, he's coming. That'd be big.
Yeah.
Brandon, over to you. I know I asked you the tough question earlier this week about can this team win the SEC East? If they win this game, you gave us the pretty strict answer of they're looking one game at a time. If they win this one, how much more in the direction of, wait, this team actually has real playoff, maybe not college football playoff, but SEC championship, and you gave me a look there, Adam Ryerson, thinking that, hey, maybe they could make the CFP. But your thoughts, if they win this game, how much has that changed?
Yeah, I think in the national spotlight especially, a win in this weekend would kind of put the notice on Missouri. And I think that's a big thing just for the program as a whole. Eli Drinkwitz has been looking for those signature wins. He got one against Kansas State. Last one before that was really LSU. So I think it really helps the brand build that identity that they kind of have. But there's just something like about this Missouri team that we've kind of seen that they're believing in this something to prove mantra. And each week it is what it is. But if they beat LSU and come out there with the success that they've had, I mean, it's got to put a whole bunch of other teams on notice because Eli Drinkwitz has a group that's believing in themselves, is more confident than they've been in years, and now they're finally putting it together at the time when the SEC East might be at the weakest it has in years. So as far as the implications of a victory, it could be huge for the program, and it could set them up for a serious collision course with Georgia in a couple weeks in Athens that could seriously define your season.
God, I have just chills just hearing that. Like, they just fired me up. Can we get to Saturday already? Like, can we get to this game? I am so fired up. Well, now, quick calm down for a second. We'll talk about what our writers are writing about this week. Obviously, great stories all year. This one feels like a bigger magnitude with LSU in the town and all the storylines that surround this game. The storyline that you're hitting on, Wendell, is that a couple former Missouri Tigers, Mekhi Wingo and Jaden I guess he never played for the team. Speculation say he did. But talk about kind of that, how that came to be with Daniels and Wingo.
Yeah, former future Missouri Tiger Jaden Daniels is coming to Columbia this weekend after a tweet February 2022 that said that he was committing to Mizzou after he entered the transfer portal, leaving Arizona State. Obviously, he's not at Mizzou anymore. So I just use that story to kind of preview this powerful LSU offense. And Mekhi Wingo left Missouri after his freshman year and has really become a leader of that LSU defense. Took on the number 18 there. That's a big number for LSU. Those are going to be two big names and both have ties to Columbia.
Adam, you were writing about one of Missouri's defensive linemen, Darius Robinson, but not just the stuff that he's done on the field, but off the field. Explain a little more about that.
Yeah, he is. Faith is a big part of Darius's life, and I got to talk to his mother and his brother, and they told me a little bit about growing up and what faith means to them and their family. So I got to hear a little bit more about the person that Darius is, and one thing that he has made a mission for himself is to give back to the community of Columbia. So he has partnered with Second Baptist Church on Broadway, and earlier this year they did a back-to-school drive, and the turnout was one that Second Baptist has never seen before. Line off the street, completely taking up all of 4th and Broadway. The whole football team showed up, and it just it's a little look into the person behind the player, and I think that people are going to really like it.
Yeah, that's going to be an awesome read. Brandon, over to you. You were writing about two of the best wide receivers in the whole country, and now they get to square up on the same field. Malik Nabers for LSU, Luther Burden the third of Missouri. What do you see between those two that you're writing about this week?
Yeah, one thing that people won't necessarily look to when they look at the similarities is the fact that they were both committed to other schools originally. Luther with Oklahoma, he decommitted the August before committing to Mizzou, and Malik was committed to Mississippi State before committing to LSU. What's kind of unique about them is they both decided to play for their in-state school. So it's kind of like a similar blend about who they are, yet who they are as wide receivers is completely different. Luther's a yards after catch guy. He works in the slot and space, whereas Malik kind of works the outside. He's a deep ball threat. He's got elite speed, contested catch opportunity. It's just going to be a shootout this weekend, as we've all kind of thought. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how they match up against each other as number 1 and number 2 in receiving yards in the nation, and two guys that are really making a case for the best wide receiver in the nation.
Before we hit our game picks, we kind of teased this on the show earlier this week. We did this before the St. Louis game. We're going to do our game day grub. That's our new segment. We're trying the foods of these towns. So because of LSU, we're doing some Cajun food, some Louisiana-owned stuff. We have a sponsor for this one now.
Yeah.
This one's been sitting here the whole episode. We've been very excited to get to it. From Krustaceans Seafood here in Columbia. Adam, tell us a little about that as we kind of open the box up.
Yeah, shout out to Krustaceans. They're located on 9th Street, right across from the Blue Note. Owned by 2 former Missouri athletes. Wow, that looks good.
This looks so
Marcus
good.
Lucas, wide receiver for the Tigers from 2010 to 2013, ironically. And Monique Lucas, former basketball player. So, yeah, it's a locally owned company. They partner with Mizzou Athletics, who, so you might run into your favorite alumni, favorite athlete there. They're always in there. And they've got a $10 student ID deal with...
It's a great deal. One of the best deals you get in all of town.
Absolutely.
$10 for this. And, like, I just opened this up. My jaw dropped. I don't know if we can show that to the camera.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if we can get a look of these crabs. This is
Yeah, this is going to be good.
insane. Oh, it's dripping? Oh, yeah.
Told you not to tilt it.
Look.
Sorry.
Travis will help
It's
clean this
worth
up
it.
later. It's, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, so we got a little broil here, and then we got some shrimp, fish, and chips with the Cajun fries. So
Yeah. Brandon, you said you've never had this before. Neither have I. What are the expectations going into this?
I'm a picky person, so not exactly the highest, but we'll give it a shot.
We have a silverware shortage as well. So.
that's all right.
Yeah, so you are, Cajun is your favorite kind of food, is that correct?
That's true. I'm from Texas. A lot of Cajun food in the Houston area. This is my favorite stuff, so I'm excited.
All right, so let's
dig in.
I don't even know where to start with
I'm
this
just
all.
going to start with this.
I'm gonna
go
dive into one of these crab legs. I do not know how to.
Get the slap your mama out.
Oh, you're so
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Wendell brought his own seasoning.
I don't
to
know
this.
that we'll need it, but this is, since we're trying to be true to the Louisiana stuff here, I got Louisiana's very own Slap Your Mama.
So as we do this, we can still talk a little about Missouri and LSU. Anyone have some specific bold predictions for this game?
I think Brady Cook goes over 400 yards.
So, okay. He's going for it in the 300s the last 3 weeks.
He was 5 yards away against Vandy. I think he hits that easily against LSU. This is a generationally poor LSU defense.
I'm really struggling here, guys.
Oh, yeah,
I need like the hammer. Like my hands are too small.
I give a bold prediction, but I can't get over how good this shrimp is
I
seasoned.
know, this is
That
insane.
shrimp's really good.
Wow.
I think Mizzou could have three 100-yard receivers this weekend.
Who's the third?
I think we'll have
Marquise?
Luther Burden. I think we'll have Theo Weiss again, and I think Marquise will jump out for.
I'm still really. I don't
40
want to be
yard
exposed
catch
right here,
and
but like, I
back it up.
cannot get this open.
I think Marquise
Because like you go to the places and they have the hammer for this
Right.
one. I
The hammer.
don't carry a hammer around,
It's all right.
unfortunately.
You got corn in there. Here, you want to try
I
some
don't
of
think
this
the plastic utensils can help me. I don't know why. Let me.
Here, try some of this. Everything I had on that plate was fantastic.
I don't know if you guys want to dive into these.
Everything I had on that plate is unbelievable.
It's making really good television. People just watching us eat
I
food.
know, right?
If we're making you hungry at home, this is a good reason to go to Crustaceans Seafood. A great game day snack before or after Mizzou win.
How's that sauce?
It's good probably all times of the day.
So good.
Give us a
We gotta
score.
try
I know
it.
we're all pretty high on the pizza, or at least some of us were.
I
This
was
is-
not high on the pizza
No.
personally.
This is a 9, maybe even a 10 out of 10.
No, this is
fantastic.
like a 9.5.
Well, this is it.
Easily.
$10 student ID. Let's do our game picks while we wrap this up, and I'm continuing to try to open this. I don't think I'm ever going to open this up. Maybe kickoff will come when by the time I get this open. Wendell, I know you got some food in your mouth, so Tigers are Tigers, LSU or Missouri. Who you
I
got?
said earlier today, I got the Tigers of Missouri 38-35.
38-35. Adam, over to you.
I'm also going to go with Missouri. I'm going to go, I think we all think it's a shootout. So I'm going to say 42-38, Mizzou wins.
3 for 3 on the Tigers over there?
I typed a message out to Harrison last night. It said, I'm picking LSU. I deleted that message. It never made it to Harrison's phone. I'm going Mizzou as well. I think they remain 6-0. I think as far as a score, I'm going with Adam and Wendell both a shootout. I think it's got to be 45-42. Harrison Mevis with another game.
Oh, now you're calling your shot.
What a moment.
There's the big call.
So I'm 5-0 picking the games this year. Picking
As
the
it-
Tigers. It hurts to do this. Travis, put it up. It hurts.
No.
It hurts. I think LSU is the more hungry team. And especially off the tough loss at Ole Miss, I think coaching makes a difference in this game. I think Brian Kelly gets the LSU Tigers ready, and Jaden Daniels and Malik Nabers put together a strong performance, and LSU at 60 points exactly, 60-51.
Wow.
LSU comes away with this win, 111 points. I know it's a lot, but
LSU might give them more yards than they did last week.
they might be the case. So that's that.
Before we
Hopefully,
close it out, I just want to say Brandon, who does not eat seafood, went for seconds on the shrimp.
Oh
so that's
my
how you know it's good.
I'm so close to.
I would say I believe in you. I'm not sure I do.
The plastic utensil with this is not a winning recipe
That's all right.
in terms of open a crab leg. But eventually we'll get it open. Eventually we'll come back here to the Tiger Kickoff Show Monday to recap the Tigers and what should be a fantastic game on Saturday. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on the Tiger Kickoff Show.